Ready?
Okay, I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Katie.
I'm Ted.
I'm Sarah. I'm Emma.
And we're going to talk to you about our system of refills. Okay, so why are these a problem? These one-way bottles are affecting our greenhouse gas emissions through ample waste and energy consumption. A lot of people may be unaware that plastic bottles are actually the least recycled material in the United States. There was a study done, and it showed that out of the 100 plastic bottles that were purchased, only 17 of those were actually recycled. So that's only 17%. 60 million plastic bottles are discarded daily, and those plastic bottles end up going into landfills where it takes about like 700 years to decompose. In regards to energy, about 15 million barrels are used to for the manufacture, transport, and disposal of the plastic bottles, which is the amount of oil to fuel about 100,000 cars a year. And then our refilling system will need the use of bottle handling machinery, a washer, bottle inspections, bottles, and bottle crates, and this will all need to be like supervised and managed. So we will end up changing and increasing employment for this use. And not only does our system reduce the packaging, but it also will cost us less on waste management. We'll have less material, so we can put more of our costs towards employment. And then overall, the cost for the customer will be the same, but for our return deposit, they will be getting more back. So like when you recycle, you get 10 cents back, and for us, you'll get like 25 cents back. And then an interesting statistic is that Finland, Denmark, and Germany have refillable beverage containers, and about more than 70% of their beverage containers are refilled. And for the US, only 5% are refilled. So we're hoping that our system can change that statistic.
All right, so why refills? So refills are a returnable, refillable water bottle that we're going to use. So what we wanted to do with this product was to provide a service for the customers that was both economically and environmentally friendly. So when you go out to the store and you buy a bottle of pop, a bottle of water, what you want out of that is you want the pop or you want the water. You're not buying it for the bottle. So what we're trying to do is instead of using one-time throwaway bottles, what we're going to do is we're going to have those bottles be returnable to help the environment to really reduce that waste. So what is Refillz? So first, talk a little bit about the design of the bottle. So our company, what we're going to do is we're going to find partners to associate with, like Coca-Cola or Dasani. And what we're going to do is we're going to design the bottles so that's compatible with the systems that they already have in place. So the transition for them is going to be a lot easier to do. So it's going to be easier to get those companies on board with us to do this system of returning and refilling these water bottles. So the next important thing was company customization. So we realized that companies that have bottles of water and their pops, they want to stand out and be unique. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make the bottle for them. We're going to leave it up to them to really label their product and market it, advertise it, however they want, so that they can keep that uniqueness. We're just changing the bottle that they're using. So PEN is the type of plastic that we're going to create our bottles from. So PEN stands for polyethylene naphthalate. So this plastic is reusable and it can be used up to like 25 times for our process is what we're hoping for. So PEN is not very common right now in the United States. What's used right now is PET, and PET is a one-time use and throwaway, or it ends up getting recycled, which we've seen from the stats that it doesn't really get recycled that often. So we're hoping to switch over to PEN, which going from PET to PEN really isn't a big switch for the companies that are already manufacturing these plastic products. So it'd be easy to change maybe one or two steps in the production process to make this PEN plastic, which can open up another market for these plastic companies. And then for the cost to the customer, to the consumer, it's going to be the same cost for that beverage that they would buy at the store. The difference comes where they return that bottle, they're going to get more back in their pockets.
Okay, so we just kind of give a general summary of how Refillz will work with drink corporations and your local convenience stores. So to start, Refillz bottles, we'll have those created at our Refillz corporation. From there, we'll send brand new Refillz bottles to drink corporations, which they will label and fill them with their specific beverage. From there, we'll have multiple orders shipped out in one truckload to your local stores. And so stores that we partner with, the shipments will be implemented into the store how they normally are, and will be available at the similar prices that they are currently, but we will have a refill station, or bottle drop-off stations where consumers can take back their bottles and get the 25 cents, so the higher deposit back from that. And then these bottles that are dropped off will then be picked up by this truck, the same truck, and put into the truck to replace the bottles that were just dropped off. So it's kind of 2-in-1 system. So fresh bottles and the used bottles are then taken to another store where the fresh bottles are dropped off to that store. And then again, the dropped off used Refillz bottles will be put into the truck. And then from there, they'll be taken back to the drink corporation, which will have a sanitation station. And the bottles will be sanitized and then be able to either go back into drink companies to be refilled and relabeled again, or broken or old bottles that have gone past their time will be sent back to us, where we will recycle them or refurbish them, or as we did.
Okay, so as we said, we are Refillz, and it's with a Z because it's hip and relatable. So our biggest thing is that we wanted our logo and slogan to kind of relate that, and it's reuse, return, refills. So we're basically playing upon the whole recycling theme, but applying it to the actual bottle company. I mean, the bottles that will be produced through Refillz are going to be green bottles with the labels of whatever beverage you're drinking from whatever corporation you're going to be buying from. So it's going to have that same logo, but you're going to know which one is ours because it's green, it's reusable, it's Refillz. So, okay, go to the next slide. So our target audience. Our main target audience is we wanted people from ages 22 to 35. We chose this age structure because these are people who are just getting out of college. They're new families, getting their own places, getting their own jobs. They're more willing to change their spending habits as opposed to people who have been purchasing the same thing for 20 years or so. So we figured, since also in Refillz will be charging the exact same amount for the bottles that you're buying, we figured people our age will be really willing because there's really not a price difference. And then since you're getting back more when you're returning it, I mean, we all like a little extra money. We all need that at this age. We also thought that people over the age of 35 might also be interested in this product because although they are not as willing to change their ways, they are more willing to return bottles. And not only that, but since there isn't a price change, there really wouldn't be that big of a difference for them. They'd be buying a green bottle as opposed to a clear bottle. So for advertisements, since we're going to partner with some big companies such as Coca-Cola or possibly Dasani for water, we figured we could just tag onto their advertisements. So that would be billboards, TV commercials, local radio stations, since the first year we're going to stay more local, and different ads like that that will target a lot of different age groups. It'll get our name out there, and it's very easy to just put in our, reuse, return, refills slogan into all these advertisements. So we feel like we'll be able to get our name out there and entice people along with in-store ads to partnering companies. So yeah.
Okay, so this is the sample budget for one of our potential partners, Coca-Cola, and I'm going to break down every line and analyze every year for the last 5 years. No, we're going to zoom into the parts we took out were, this is every $1 million for 1 year. So if you click, the first portion is we took their, they make about $8 billion, and that comes from, they spend $5 billion to make the product, and their total profit is about $3 billion. So we took those numbers and made a mock budget for how to break down the cost of producing our new product. So on your left, you're going to see the original one-time use bottles, and on the right are going to be our Refillz bottles. So our theory is that these bottles are going to be able to be used 25 times. So the cost for making a Refillz bottle is going to be slightly more. So you go from a 30-cent to a 70-cent startup cost. But then to fill and transport the bottle, it's only slightly more to do your Refillz bottle. So if you do the net cost per bottle, you end up saving 26 cents per bottle with the Refillz bottle. So what we did then is we split this cost between the consumer and the producer. The reason we split it is to give incentive to the consumers to return it 25 times. So to split to the consumer, we increased the cost for consumers, so they're paying the same price for the bottle as we've mentioned several times. But wait, there's more. Their return goes from 10 cents to 25 cents by increasing a 15-cent return rate. Then for our producers, we decreased their cost by 11 cents per bottle. So this is where our profit is going to come from and how we're going to return your investment. So our startup costs come from a breakdown of, this is scaled down to a tenth of Coca-Cola's annual enterprise. So we would be looking at a factor of the Midwest region and taking a $20 million investment, which came from an increased approximation of current environmental adjustments made in the company. This was 3 times their current adjustment profit, which has increased over the last 5 years. We took that $20 million and we took all of it, but from splitting only 1/3 of the profits to the producers, we were able to have an annual income of $18.7 million. So in the first year, you will almost break even, and from that point on, you'll have almost an annual return rate of your initial investment. And that was the purple numbers getting bigger. So overall, we are Refillz, and our environmental.
We'll have a cleaner environment. So Happy Earth. So basically for every 25 bottles you typically have, like a one-way bottle, you'll have 1 bottle.
So we're reducing the number of plastic bottles produced 25 times less. And we also are making a cheaper bottle. Like I said, the overall cost will be 26 cents cheaper per bottle. I don't know if you saw on the other side, there was about 1 million, almost 2 million bottles made. So that was how we ended up with our total production. And then you split that to the consumer, who then gets.
The consumer then gets the product. Well, the product cost is the exact same to the consumer, and the return on that is increased. So it makes more sense for a consumer to go out, buy a Refillz bottle, and get more back for returning that.
So you get from going a dime back to a quarter back per bottle.
Another nice incentive of that is that when you have that money you got from returning your bottles, that's money that you have inside of the store. So that's actually could potentially help the economy. So people have money, they'll buy more in stores with that extra money they just received.
And lastly, the producer will end up getting 11 cents back per bottle. And like we said, that's almost $20 million annual investment, which is profits. Any questions?
Let's just have one question, and then the rest of you can write your questions down on the sheet of paper, because we're running way late.
I saw his.
Okay, so I'm like a little confused on the whole process works. So like the people, like the consumers, me, I own the bottle, right?
No.
Do I? Okay, so
We'll have the consumer will have the exact same process. Right now, I go, I buy a pack of bottle of soda, 6-pack soda. You come home, you drink it, and then you return your empties. Right now, I go and I get 10 cents back.
Okay.
Now I'm going to buy the same bottle for the same. I'm going to buy a Refillz bottle for the same price as a normal bottle, and drink it and return it just like I would a normal bottle. But now I get 25 cents back instead of 10 cents.
and that's my real question. Why does the deposit go up? Because the whole point of the deposit is because like here in Michigan you pay 10 cents extra. So like a can of Coke, let's say it costs like, from what I understand, would cost like let's say it costs $1.10. So when you buy it for $1.10, but the actual like process of it like actually costs $1, so you get your 10 cents back.
The 10 cents is what the state pays right now, and that's for their incentive to return. So we, as you saw in the budget breakdown, we're only splitting 15 more cents, and that's coming from the Coke producers. they're putting that money in the refills bottle. So right now you go to Meyer and you've got like your cans and your bottles return section. You'd also have a refills bottle. So the company would put money into that to then supply your increased deposit. So it would be 15 cents more on top of the state produced 10 cents per bottle.
Okay, so it's not actually a deposit, you're just getting money that's coming out of nowhere.
You're basically getting money back from,
You're getting money.
it's an incentive to return the bottles from Coca-Cola. Since their actual costs for like production and shipping have been greatly decreased by this, they're able to add in a little incentive to the consumer.
The cost per bottle went down 26 cents and we split that between the consumer and the producer.
So that's what that was.
That's where that money's coming from. So it's not out of nowhere. I really did find that money. And this is a sample budget, so negotiations could be produced to have a different balance between the split and between how the balance is going to be. So at this point, we did only 1/3 to the producer, so you could negotiate for more with your investment, but this is our sample budget for you.
Okay.
Break even and easy.